Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Speaking of Diamonds. My name is Rich, your host, and welcome to this week's Whip and Chat, which is sort of going to be a kit up and chat. Um, I've had a couple requests for people asking how I kit up, so I thought I would go through the process with the temperature chart cross stitch conversion that I'm going to be working on. Um, and it's probably going to be a little bit of a tedious process because I have a number of, like, small number of drills of various colors and whatnot, just because I wasn't sure how many I would have to order. So what I'll probably do is explain my setup, go through some tips and tricks, and then maybe cut the video and then come back when I'm done to talk about how I prepped my canvas for this cross stitch conversion. So let's go ahead and get started. So first of all, I'm kitting up a cross stitch conversion temperature chart for 2025. Essentially, it's where you catalog the daily temperature based on a list of temperature ranges that you create, and you associate those temperatures, the different intervals, with certain colors, and then you put that down on a diamond painting. I'm going to go ahead and put a picture of a sample picture of what this would look like when completed. And as you can see, there's different um, ledges, shelves with different glasses, and then each day you color in with diamonds. You color in the beverage that's in the glass, and that represents the temperature. So typically what you'll see is, depending on how you put together your colors, you'll have a bunch of, certain number of colors, then you move into the next range of colors as it warms up, and then you stay in that sort of the hotter zones, and then you cool back down at the end of the year. Some people do a gradient, so like they'll use like a whole bunch of different types of, or different shades of blue or different shades of green or whatnot. I sort of I'm using the for the most part, I'm using the suggestion as far as colors go from the pattern that I purchased off of Etsy, and I'll post all that information down below. The only exception is that when I was purchasing the colors, I think the total number of colors here for this kit is 25. Or I'm sorry, I think it's like 27, 30-ish, between 25 and 30 on the pattern itself. When I purchased the drills and the canvas, you purchased in basically like groups of 10, 20, 25, etc. So I narrowed it down to 25, but then I'm adding in some of my own uh, extra drills from my stash. So these are great projects to do with your leftover diamonds. I know a lot of people sometimes don't save their diamonds, especially like the run-of-the-mill color ones. You may keep ABs and specialty drills, but if you are keeping any of your regular drills, this is a great way to use those up. So let's go ahead, and first of all, I'm going to tell you what I'm using here. So this is my kit box, whatever, from Chris's Craft Corner. I love this thing. It's the second time I'm using it, and it just holds everything that I need for kitting up. I've put my uh, colors in numeric order here, and then I have some extras. So like these are some extra drills from a previous canvas. I'm going to use these. I'm going to combine that with, I was a little short on 820, so I have some additional 820s. And then I have my larger background drills here. And then there's just these two big wells that you can use for whatever you would like. I have my, this is a generic funnel, obviously. This is pieces for my um, Elizabeth Ward container or Elizabeth Ward-esque containers. All the different pieces for the different sizes. I'm going to be primarily using the small because, again, I don't have a lot of the various colors. I also have from Zodiac Shadow. This is from Fantasy Spark Hills on Etsy. Zodiac Shadows. I have my uh, Art Dot container funnel. If you've never used one of these, essentially when you have the cap off of your bottle, you slide this in, it holds onto it while you pour your drills in, and then you're able to slide it off and everything stays within the bottle. These things are super, super helpful. Um, I then have some dryer sheets that I've cut up into little squares, just in case I need that for some static. Um, this is what I primarily use for static now. These I got off of Etsy. I think I talked about them before. They're actually the little pads that you use, like are used during manicures, I guess. When I on Etsy, there it says that they're anti-static sheets, and I'm like, how can they be anti-static if there's nothing in them? But when I did a reverse Google search on the image, it came up with these nail pads, and they have been working. I have had to use both dryer sheets and this when I get a really stubborn pack, but for the most part, these work. So I have all of my kit up stuff here. So when I'm ready to kit up, I go to my craft closet, I pull this out, I set it down, and I'm able to start putting my drills in order, etc. I then just have little labels here for my kit up container. So what I'm kitting up into is one of these small sort of half size Elizabeth Ward type containers. This is off of Temu. I got a couple of these for smaller kits such as this. And what I like about the Elizabeth Ward containers is you obviously can customize the size of containers that you use based on the project that you're doing. So what I did was, so these come just like the large Elizabeth Ward kits. These come, you can get all the small, then you can get like, I think it's all this size or a combo of the small and the larger size here, or you get the one that has sort of the hodgepodge of all the different sizes. So what I did is I just went in and took out more small ones because I have 25 colors that I have very few drills on. And then I put in a larger Elizabeth Ward here. This is with my 5200 fairy dust drills that I'm going to be using for the background of my cross stitch conversion. And then here, I just labeled this one glasses. These are clear sparklers for squares from DP Sparklers. And I was going back and forth on what I wanted to use for the glasses. There's another one that called Water Drop from and I forget what, maybe it's called Icicle or something. I forget what it's called, the DP Sparklers. Um, but to give it a little bit of a blue tinge, but my glasses are really just clear. So I went with the clear. It's going to give a nice sparkle. This was just what I had in one of these Art Dot containers. And I'm going to have to order more because I'm not sure if I'm going to use all of these, but I want to make sure I have some more in my stash should I need them. And then, of course, good old washi tape that I use to chart off or tape off my canvas, which I'll go through how I did that a little bit later in the video. It involves math, so trigger warning. It involves math, and I'm not good at math, so I may have royally screwed it up. So if anyone's a mathematician and you watch the second half of this video, don't correct me. Let me figure it out on my own that I've screwed up. So the first thing I do is I like to just label my sticker containers or my containers of drills, not sticker containers. And the way I do that is I have a little label printer with removable labels. I put one on the top and then one on the side somewhere. And the thought process is there are some times that I am able to put this into I have one of those, like IKEA type things that have the 9 squares that you put the fabric drawers in. So if I'm able to put it this way, I can see what I'm storing. If I put it on its side, I just need to pull it out and I can see what I'm kitting up here. So I think I'm ready to start kitting up. So the first thing I do is I have a dryer sheet here. I have one well-worn dryer sheet and then a brand new dryer sheet. And that's to help, this is all to help with static should I run into that. But the first thing I do is I typically wipe down my funnel with the worn in one here. This is what I usually use to wipe down trays as I'm working with them as well. So make sure to wipe the bottom of your funnel as well, because if everything slides through this way, that's great, but then all of a sudden it's coating the bottom of your funnel and it's not going to be very helpful. So let me put that back on there. Let me get out my sticker sheet. Now this is a very plain sticker sheet because, again, since this is a cross-stitch conversion, there are no real symbols, if you will, because the canvas is bare. When I look at the pattern, I'm going to know based on, is it a background? Then I'm going to use my background color. Is it a glasses color? Is it a glasses to make the shape of a glass? I'm going to use my sparklers, or am I filling in a liquid and then I'll use my colored DMC drills. So I'm going to go ahead and just start the kitting up process. So normally what I will do if I'm not sure that a sticker is removable is I put down a little piece of washi tape, but I know that these stickers are removable. So I'm going to put this right on my container, because one of my biggest pet peeves is when you have the sticker residue and you can't get it off without like scratching the surface, or just it looks crappy. I hate that. I absolutely hate that. These don't go in order for some reason. I don't know how this was put together. Maybe it was the order I typed it in or what, but I'm looking for 414. Get some space here. And the way this contraption works is you sort of just load your container in here, and now it's sort of in there, sort of securely. It's not going to fly out or anything, but it's certainly not locked in there. And then I'm going to come through. Now, one of my first tips to deal with static, other than first wiping things down, is to handle your drills somewhat gingerly, because static, you have a plastic bag with plastic drills inside. That's what resin or acrylic is. It's a type of plastic. And plastic rubbing against plastic makes static. So when you're moving drills around, and it's actually, I find that these type of packs are better, this little heat sealed one, are better than like the baggies. The baggies are, they just create so much static. Plus it's environmental, etc., etc., etc. And I'm sitting here in the throes of winter. It's 18% humidity in the house right now because it's 15 degrees outside. So I may have some static. So I'm going to go ahead and start to pour these in. And I just put these in and then I just squeeze up and down to make sure I get everything out. And look at that. That was a very clean, no static container. So I'm going to go ahead and then take my item out. And here we go. My first color is kitted up. Now, even though like this is color 1 according to this, I'm going to put them in order of DMC color just because that's how I prefer to work. But there are definitely different ways to kit up. I'm going to do another video that talks specifically about the different types of containers and why you may or may not want to use them for specific projects. And I talk about different ways to arrange your drills as well. So I'm just going to put that up there because I know I'm going to put something else in front of it. And let me just go ahead. Let me try and grab these in order. So 151 is the lowest DMC. So, but yet it's listed as color 4 on here. Let me go ahead and put that here. And let me get up 151. So hello, how is everyone? How has your week been? It's the beginning of a week here. I know at least while I'm taping this, I know that you can be watching this at any time, but it's the beginning of the week here. We are in a nice cold snap here in Chicagoland. Like I said, it's 15 degrees out right now. For the beginning of this week, it's not predicted to go, certainly not over 30. It's not going to get out of the 20s for sure. Even though it was nice and sunny today, now see I'm running into some static here, so I'm going to have to finagle this a little bit. But when I have static, I just squeeze the bag and sort of squeeze things out, like almost like you would be squeezing ketchup out of a packet, instead of doing anything crazy to jostle the drills around. And you can see it's even sticking to my funnel a little bit there. So I'm going to go ahead and get out my trusty little pads here and make sure I have one. I'm going to take this out. I can see that they're sticking to the bottom of the funnel. I'm going to put that in there. Now these are really stuck all over. So I may have to employ a different method, which I can show you here with my next color in case I have the same problem. But these come in, I cut them into 4s. So the pads are actually the size of the container that they're stored in here. I cut them into 4. That may be a little overkill for these little things, but I probably could cut them down a little bit smaller for these smaller containers, but I'm just going to leave it as is. And for good measure, I'm just going to stick one of these in this first one that I put together. Okay, so that's the first color. So yes, so it's cold and it's dry and all the good winter stuff, right? Going on. I had a pretty good week. I hope you did as well. Since we last spoke over the weekend, I hosted my first live on YouTube, and that was a lot of fun. I see, a lot of creators do the lives, and I had not done that simply because I trying to find my way around creating videos and content and stuff like that. But I got a call from Crafting with Shay, or a message from Crafting with Shay, and she wants to take a little break from doing lives specifically, and she asked if I wanted her very coveted time slot on Sundays, and I thought, sure, why not? And hoping that maybe even some folks from her channels would hop on over, since they're used to talking to Shay or talking with Shay on Sundays at 4 p.m. Central. Maybe they will come over and have a little chit chat with me. I think it was received pretty well. I had a lot of fun doing it. I have the gift of gab, I guess you can say, especially having been a trainer. I'm stopping because I'm like, okay, these are really out of order because this is like, I thought I was like going with everything in a range, out of order, but within range. But here's 166 all the way down there. Anyway, just going to make sure that I pull the right colors here. So this is 326, 326. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. I was lucky enough to have some creator friends, um, with Tammy from Diamond Painting with NMD. Tammy, she helped me learn some of the auxiliary software that you need to go live, and then I promptly employed her and some other folks, L&L Diamond Painting and Ditzy and Melanie. I forgot Diamonds and Dogs, I think is her screen name, Melanie, as moderators to help out in the chat. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. Maybe I'll do it this way. Let me take out the next color and let me find that sticker on the sheet. How's that? So yeah, that was a lot of fun. What else? We had some snow late last week, so it's unfortunately we had like some freezing sleet first, so there's a base of ice under a lot of it. So I've been getting the Pet Safe salt spread in strategic spots and whatnot. Yeah, I'm just staying inside as much as I can to avoid the cold. As I've gotten older, I can't I can't with the cold. Um, I like well, actually, let me rephrase that. I've always liked cooler temperatures because my thought process is you can always put on more clothing than you can take off and still be appropriate. And trust me, nobody wants to see me walking around with less clothes on. Um, and So I've always preferred, fall and winter, and I still love fall because it's pretty and the air is crisp and stuff like that. But between um, thyroid issues and then um, within the past year or so, I've lost over 80 pounds. So I have less insulation, I think is the reason. And I'm just constantly freezing cold. And then every year, at least one time a year, I do a big old fall on some ice, and I usually jack something up when I do that. Um, this year, knock on wood, I haven't had a spill yet. I hope that I can avoid it because I'm already going to physical therapy starting tomorrow for my shoulder, and I think I've mentioned that before because there was I saw a bunch of folks wishing me well, that my shoulder gets healed quickly and whatnot. So thank you for that. And you know, I can't disagree. Yes, I want my shoulder to stop hurting so much. Um, and it's not even sometimes my shoulder. I think I mentioned this last time. My fingers are numb. My pointer finger. Here's another static ridden um, pack. So I need to show you what else I do for static here. But the pointer finger and my thumb on this hand are numb, and numb on the outside, but then on the inside of the fingers, is extremely sensitive. So when I go to wash my hands and stuff, the water, just whether it's hot or cold, just sends me through the roof. So nobody wants that. So yeah, I was supposed to go to start PT last week, and I had to reschedule. So I start tomorrow. I go for my consultation in the afternoon. Luckily, it's not too far away. I can get there within like 10-15 minutes. And Yeah, I hope that they can help me. I usually would go to a chiropractor. I went to a chiropractor for a pinched nerve in my back, and sciatica that I've had in the past, and totally has helped. But the I'm sort of to the point now that I'm like, I think this may be an injury that can't be solved just by manipulation or stim and stuff like that. So that's why I want to go to a medical doctor to get this addressed. All right, so I'm preparing for the worst here when it comes to static. Let me find out my next color, 444. Um, so when I have bad static, this is how a couple ways that I have learned to handle this. So first of all, I if you're using a pad or something like this, I like to put it in the bottom so that again, plastic against plastic, I'm not creating more static. So I'm going to put that in the bottom and go ahead and put this into my funnel there. Okay. Now, dryer sheet, a fresh dryer sheet here, just because it's easier to work with um, on this step. But what I've seen some folks do is they open up their drills and they pour them right onto the fabric softener sheet or the dryer sheet here. And then, since that has hopefully dissipated some of the static, you can now pick it up and send it through your funnel. And look at that. Even if there was static there, it's certainly not hindering my progress now. So that's another way that you can help with static. At last, when everything else fails, I get out my static guard and I spray a little bit of static guard into the cap of the can that it comes in. And then I use a Q-tip. I get the Q-tip a little wet with the static guard, and then I will stick it in the bag. I will move it around the container, whatnot, just to sort of hit those drills with some of that liquid, not to douse them or anything, but just to get them, get them wet enough to get that static to dissipate. Let's see what else. The other thing I've done is if I know that I have static, like if you can tell sometimes when your drills are clinging to the sides of these bags before you even open them, sometimes what I'll do is when I cut them open, the first thing I do is I will take a dryer sheet or one of these and just stick it in there and then hold it shut as best I can, and then I shake it to again help disperse that static, and hopefully then it's good to pour. So at this point, certainly, I'll catch up a little bit more here with y'all as I'm working here, but it's pretty much business as usual when it comes to kitting up from this point. But so let's see what else. What else happened this week? Really, it was sort of a quiet week. Work has been a little annoying per usual. We they decided that to go at the end of the year and upgrade our case management system that our division uses. So that means that my team, who performs quality assurance on the procedures that the division works on, we have to redo all of our test scripts and test plans and whatnot to account for either a brand new procedure because something in the system, a lot of what this new system brings is some automation, back-end automation that, instead of having to send an email, you can just click a button and it's going to do it for you. So that's sort of cool. And even if it does that, that's great, but we typically still have to change our test plans and test scripts to, instead of saying, field 1, I now have to say field B because that's what it's called in the new system. So yeah, I don't know why they decided to do that at the conversion at the end of the year. I mean, maybe it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. Our fiscal year starts November 1st, but it's not like it's creating a sudden cost or anything. It's a program that we bought outright, and we're moving from like sort of a homegrown solution. So I don't know. It was not great timing with the holidays and vacations, and then I had one of my team members out on maternity leave, who's just coming back. So it's gonna get better. It's gonna get better, and continue on through the year. Um, oh, and also, like, what's bad about this time of year, or challenging, is you're scrambling to finish up last year's goals, but at the same time planning next year's goals, or goals for the next fiscal year. That's always frustrating because it's like, the boss is like, well, what are you doing next year? What are you doing next year? I'm like, I'm trying to get through today and this year's goals. So that's always a challenging time as well. Let's see, what else has been going on. My dog Sammy, he's doing well. He loves snow. He really does. Unfortunately, with the steroids that he's been on, his coat has thinned considerably. So I've gotten him a small wardrobe of little fleece jackets that he can wear, and he seems to appreciate that, uh, especially when we're outside. But I am a little uh, mad at myself for doing it as well, because he, prior to um, getting him the little jackets, he would sleep next to me in the bed, and he would cuddle up against me. He would, burrow into the blankets a little bit. He has his own little blanket on the bed, and especially if I'm using the heated blanket, he's like right on top of it. Now he's warm enough to go lay in his bed over in the corner of the room. So I've lost my sleeping buddy. Luckily, he is sure to stay in the bed until I fall asleep, and then he gets up and he moves. So at least I can go to sleep knowing that he's snuggled up against me, and I hear his little snoring and stuff like that. It's the best. But yeah, so he's dealing with the cold as well. And I will say that he used to, probably as he gets older too, he gets a little bit more intolerant to the cold. He used to, want to go explore the entire backyard, and I have quite a deep lot. Um, and more often than not, what would happen is he would go all the way to the back of the yard, and especially when it gets um, this cold, or if we have the polar vortex or whatever that is we get periodically, he'll walk all the way out there. He'll do his business, but he's sniffing everything, and then he turns around. He looks at me. He lifts one paw up. Oh, it's too cold. It's too cold. And then I have to trudge through the snow to go pick him up and bring him up to the house. Which, as soon as I round the corner of the house where a neighbor may be able to see us, he's squirming to get out of my arms because he's a big dog. He's a big boy. He doesn't want to be carried. But now this year, since I think with especially his coat thinning and stuff like that, he goes out and he does his business, and he's ready to come right back in. So I'm not going to complain about that, because usually it's we're up 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, and going out first thing in the morning after you've gotten out of the nice warm bed is it's violent and rude. So I am not going to complain that he makes short work of the trip outside, for sure. But then he has this thing where, so we go out back, and I typically bring him out back when he needs to do number two. or it's time for him to do number two. And then if I have like a conference call during the day, or if it's raining out, or even at night, like before we go to bed, we do a trip out front. And for him, it's like a whole new world because there's all sorts of different smells out front, and he loves it. And he gets so mad. Like if it's raining, I'll like let him out and I'll stay in the house. He's on the leash. So he can't go all the way out to the front, and he gets really mad at me. But um, so in this weather, he wants to, of course, go out all the way out to the front. Well, when you got my driveway and my neighbor's driveway are both coated with ice, it's a little treacherous. So I've been making use of nature's traction, aka the lawn, and some strategically unshoveled snow to make sure that I have footing when I take him out, and he can do all his sniffings of the trees and the rocks and stuff out front. Um, which, as the dogs walk by, as different dogs come by, being walked with by their owners, or whatever critters have played around out front during the night, he gets to sniff all of that, and he's in his glory. So yeah, pretty quiet week. I'm going to go ahead and stop the video here, and I'm going to finish kitting up the rest of this um, piece here. And when I come back, and probably get Sammy some dinner because he's going to be staring at me here in a little bit. But when I come back, I'm going to talk about what I did to the canvas to start planning for this cross stitch conversion. And then going forward, we'll see this cross stitch conversion in its own little sort of playlist or section that you can sort of follow along with the project and see where I've messed up, or maybe where I've done something right. So I will be right back in a couple. Stay right where you are. Okay, welcome back. So I'm all done kitting up with my 25, 26, 27 colors with the two that I added, plus my background, the 5200 pixie dust or fairy dust, and then my sparklers for the glasses. I am going to use this little rainbow tray. I'm not sure where I got this. It came probably is part of an order. And then I'm going to use this blank. Focus, please. Look at this blank. Look at the turned pen. It looks like it has ice in it, right? Because drinks have ice in it, right? Right? So I'm going to use this. This won't fit in here, but I'll keep it in my pen holder here as I work on it through the year. As I was kitting up these colors, there's quite an array of colors here. We got the pinks, we got yellow, we got green, and I kept thinking about, obviously these drinks are adult beverages, and I kept thinking about, Blue Hawaiian, Midori Sour, what's pink? Something with like strawberry daiquiri, maybe. Here's wine. I think this is, wine. I added 310 for Zambuca Black, which is the black licorice liqueur, and also what Sammy is named after. His official name is Sambuca, Sammy for short. And then I added 820 because you never can go wrong with a blue drink, in my opinion. So whether this is a blue Hawaii or like a blue raspberry and vodka, I started thinking about, there's a tiki bar not too far from my house that has been there, I don't even know for how many years, but I know that my dad went there and he took dates there. I was born in 71. He was married in '69 to my mom. So it's been there for quite some time. And to this day, you'll go on a Friday or Saturday night and there's a line outside the door. Super affordable. The menu is pages and pages long. Like think of your neighborhood diner or something like that. Here in Chicago, we would refer to it as a Greek diner. Just huge menus like that. It's amazing. There's so well, everything is good, but there are some things that are like, that is not good, but not because it's not a real drink or like a poorly made drink. It's just that, maybe it's just not your taste, right? So that is how I've kitted up. So let's talk a little bit about what I've done to the canvas. Now, first of all, I got this out earlier today so that I could get it to straighten out a little bit because it was rolled. Now, the little tip that I have, obviously, lots of canvases these days are these nice quality canvases that you can lay them out on a desk and they will flatten by themselves. However, I wanted to make sure to expedite that process a little bit. Plus, I don't have a lot of table room to like lay things out. So I hang all of my canvases, whether it's a work in progress or something I'm straightening or what have you. And the way I do that is I have these pants hangers that have these little clips on them that I'm able to clip to the top of the painting. And then for longer canvases, I have these little clamps that I got from Amazon, and I bought some dowel rods, and it will allow me. I have some of these are cut down a little bit so that I can, this one, I don't know that I would necessarily need this because it's pretty small, but if it's a larger canvas, I can go ahead and secure the top of it there. So I hang it, and I have a one hook coat rack that I hang these on. I've also seen, there's the blueprint or architect drawing hangers and stuff like that, but that's what I use. And to speed up the process a little bit, I use these. These are picnic table cloth weights. So you put your tablecloth down on your picnic table or your outside table, and you hook one of these to each of the corners, and it's not going anywhere. These are weighted metal balls. They have them in shapes and stuff like that for, if you want. I'm sure you could find pink flamingos to hold on your tablecloth. But I hook these to the bottom of my canvas. So hangers up there, I hook these. I make sure that they're evenly spaced so that it hangs evenly. So basically what I do, like for this one, I would hook them like wherever the first line is, okay, and then one right in the middle, and it flattened within no time. So just a quick little hint there. So what have I done to the canvas? All right, so what do we know about the canvas? I ordered this canvas based on some calculations from Emeralds and Fairy Lights. Lindsay gave the calculation of, on your pattern, you take the number of stitches across and down, and you multiply them by 0.25, and that's the centimeters that you need. So this is a 50 by 55. 50 by 55. And I got to that based on that calculation. I forget exactly. No, I do know. I think it was 185 stitches across and 213 stitches down. So what that means is I should be able to put 185 and 213 diamonds across for my stitches. So one of the things that Lindsay advised was to go just a little bit bigger so that you are sure to account for any, misaligned drills or if you counted wrong or something. So the way that it worked out was I had, let's see, if this was 185, I had 190, like 200. It's 200 across. Okay. So what I did was, and I wasn't working with even numbers, but I basically took and I got rid of 12 over here and uh, 8 over here. No, I'm sorry. That's 8 and that's 3. So it's 15. I got rid of 15 total, but there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I guess it's sort of even. Um, but uh, I think this side is a little bit bigger, one space bigger than this side. Then I marked the center of my canvas just because I could. This was 92 and a half ish stitches or drills. And then for the top, I had 213. So I had 220 up and down. So I had to get rid of 7 extra. So I got rid of 15 here and I got rid of 7. So there's like 3 rows blocked off up at the top. And then I blocked off 4 rows down here at the bottom. So this is where I'm going to be working with my for my design. Now, typically with a cross stitch, what you would do is you would find the center of this canvas, the design, and that's where you would start. You would start stitching out from the center. And the reason for that is because unlike diamond painting, there isn't very rarely, sometimes you can, but you don't, let's say this is your design, it's a flower. In diamond painting, we would put diamonds all around this, whether it be a color, a gradient, a pattern, something. In cross stitch, you would just stitch the flower typically. So what I would do if I was working on this is I would have to figure out, like probably if I was working on this as a cross stitch, I'd have to figure out where my center was and then figure out where my first shelf is and go there and boom, 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 and, sort of reverse engineer it a little bit. Instead, with this, since I'm going to be covering all of the squares or the stitches on this canvas, I'm just going to start like I do with most of my paintings. I'm just going to start in the upper left-hand corner and continue across and then come on down. So I'm going to have, I think when I looked at the pattern, I have at least each square here is 10. So there's 20 something, 25, somewhere 25 or so rows of the white, my background, the 5200 AB. And then when I get to, however many squares I'm supposed to fill in with white, I know that my sign is going to go up here. Here's my first drinks. Here's my first shelf, what have you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start this, and I'm going to start it up here and sort of get everything, lined up, at least for the signage that's up at the front, up at the top, and that first shelf for January. And then I'll do the first couple drinks, and then I will continue on and just get the shelving in place and probably just like the border of the whites. And then once I do the drinks, I'll fill in the white going forward. I may even just put glasses in too. Maybe I'll just do that, and then I can just fill in the glasses as the year goes along. So I think I did the math right. I hope I did the math right, but I did count, and I do have the right number of stitches. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and start this probably this week. Definitely over the weekend. I've been making some great progress on my Ticket to Ride / Bling in the New Year canvas. I went a little crazy with the with the enhancements the other night. There's in the center of the picture. I'll put a picture up here. Blue Moon from Andy Russell, captured by Radiance. The flower in the center, sort of the big red flower. I made 10 swaps for, and the swaps were all crystal glitter, ABs, or sparklers. So it is, that flower looks like it's fresh off the Las Vegas Strip, and I sort of love that. But in all the colors are pretty similar to how they were charted. So that's sort of fun. But so yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and I'll get started on this. I think that brings me to the end of the Kid Up and chat here today. I thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions regarding anything that I've done or anything that I've used, please go ahead and drop them in the comments, or just let me know if there's some, a tip or something that you saw that you may want to try, or if you have any tips for me or suggestions, of course, let me know that as well. So thank you very much. I hope you have a good rest of the week. Watch throughout the week. I may have an additional video or two. I received shipment from Diamond Art Club. I received some canvases from Art and Soul, which I may do quick reviews, unboxings of those. And I also want to speak a little bit on subjects that I've been researching. I want to talk about digital art versus AI, and then sort of how that culminates into computer rendered and hand rendered. What I'm not going to do is I'm not going to say that this is bad and this is good. What I want to say is this is what these items are, so that we are sure that we are all using the proper terms, so that we can have intelligent discussions about the topics, but then also you can make informed decisions on whether or not do you like or support AI? When does AI become digital art, or when does digital art become AI? Is there any crossover? And when it comes to hand rendering, computer rendering, really the major difference is obviously the end image, but the amount of confetti you have. And I want to talk a little bit about how to tackle confetti. So hopefully, I'm trying to catch up this week on some videos, so hopefully I'll get those done and get something posted. But if not, definitely Sunday, I am planning to go live 4:00 Central. The video will be up in the lives tab halfway through the week, so go ahead and click the notify me so that it gives you a little heads up that we're going live, and stop on in. Sunday we talked about, well, it was primarily old movies, old TV shows, but we could talk about anything and everything. And it's just a lot of fun, a nice way to wrap up the weekend. And if you get Sunday scaries about going to work the next day like I do, it's a little bit of a distraction for you. So grab a beverage of your choice, grab a snack, and come on in, and we will spend some time together on Sunday. Other than that, thank you so much for stopping in to Speaking of Diamonds. I hope you have a good rest of your week, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.